Hello, it's Friday, March 25th, and it must be time for another update from your North Carolina Medical Society. We have two very important updates for you today. The first is an upcoming meeting of the Joint Legislative Oversight Committee for Health Access and Medicaid Expansion. This was a group put together of both House and Senate members of the North Carolina General Assembly during the budget process when they decided they wanted to talk more about Medicaid expansion before taking it up as a standalone bill at the General Assembly. As a part of that discussion, they ended up folding in scope of practice, mainly for APRNs, and certificate of need into this conversation, linking these three things together, or at least the discussion of these three things together. Next Tuesday, March the 29th, a number of speakers will be in at the committee meeting to talk about the SAVE Act. The SAVE Act would allow independent practice by all four types of advanced practice registered nurses in the state of North Carolina. We've been very fortunate to have the Medical Society invited to speak on this day as well, and Dr. Karen Smith will be speaking on behalf of the North Carolina Medical Society and physicians and PAs from across the state. I think it's important that we take this opportunity for you to communicate with legislators while they're back home. Even though they're coming to town for joint meetings like this, they're not here on a regular basis. They're at home worrying about their elections. Now's a great time for you to be talking. And there are three specific messages that I think are very important for you to convey. These are dispelling talking points that are used to promote the SAVE Act. The first is the fact that supervision is meaningless. That's a major talking point for why they should do the SAVE Act. And we all know that you are working hand in hand with your APRN partners and that supervision is real. The meetings that you have, the conversations, the collaboration that you go through on a daily basis to provide the best patient care is real. That needs to be communicated to legislators. The second is this false premise that you are all getting rich by getting paid to supervise APRNs. And frankly, that's just false. There are a few extraordinary cases that get to be used as the flag to be waved on this issue, but many of you, we know, if not the vast majority of you, are not receiving one penny from the supervisory relationship that you have with your APRN partners. So that needs to be communicated to legislators on a regular basis. And the third is that there is no purpose for this relationship. There is no reason to do this. And a lot of this is attached to the fact that the only paperwork that is required is infrequent and is light compared to what previous requirements were. And we say that flexibility is necessary because the relationship that you have should define how often, how much you have to work hand in hand with your APRN partners, not the statute and not regulation. So this is meaningful. It's real. It's not a financially lucrative thing. It's a part of how you care for patients. And the flexibility is important so that you can provide the best outcomes in the way that you need to do for your geographic clinic space. It's important that you convey these messages yourselves in your own way with the legislators that you have personal relationships with back home. Because if you're not conveying that, then a small group of people are telling a different story at the legislature, and that's the story that's going to be heard. Now, Dr. Smith's going to be speaking to these points and many other points on Tuesday. We hope to have a recording of that to share with you later, but what I'm asking for you today is for you to take action to complement what Dr. Smith is doing on your behalf, because that personal conversation that you're having back home is vitally important. Now, while we're also talking about the legislature, I think it's important to remind you of the peers, your peers, that have chosen to take a chance this year and put their name out front to possibly become a legislator or to continue to be a legislator in the state of North Carolina. So I want to focus on 5 individuals. The first 3 are all looking at state races, so within the state of North Carolina for the North Carolina General Assembly. And we'll start off with the state Senate. We only have one doctor running for state Senate this year. That's Dr. Cheryl Russo from Mecklenburg County. She'll be running for the state seat down in southeastern, state Senate seat down in southeastern Mecklenburg County. The only House member that is currently a physician is Dr. Kristen Baker, and she's running as an incumbent in Cabarrus County, again, to be reelected this year. And then if you go all the way to the other side of the state, in Pitt County, Dr. Tim Reeder, past president of the North Carolina Medical Society, has put his name forward to run for a North Carolina House seat from Pitt County. At the congressional level, you all know that we have Dr. Greg Murphy, who represents the 3rd District in eastern North Carolina. He's running as an incumbent to be reelected to the U.S. Congress for representing the North Carolina delegation. And we also have Dr. Marianne Contagianis, who has put her name forward in the 6th District, which is kind of the middle from Greensboro to Alamance County, around about in there. So 5 peers that we would ask you to think thoughtfully about and to consider supporting those elections, because they've stepped out and said they want to represent their communities, but they also want to represent the profession by bringing their experience, their life of experience, forward to be a servant for the state of North Carolina in those ways. So I hope you'll consider reaching out to your legislators, taking part or at least listening in to what happens next Tuesday, and then considering helping those peers of yours that have chosen to take a risk and consider running for elected office this year. There's more to come on all these topics and more, so we look forward to following up with you in the weeks ahead. Have a great weekend.